Hi, I am here with Tanya-Lorette Dee, who is performing as Jan in Ladies' Day at the Bolton Octagon, which is coming from the 8th of March right through to the 1st of April. Now, Tanya, you may have seen her on screen or TV. She's an award-winning actress who's been in the likes of Peaky Blinders, EastEnders, Doctors. She has worked on stage with Sir Alan Ayckbourn, and in fact is due to work with him again when this run at the Octagon closes. So we are with someone who is very in demand, and we're really, really grateful that you've taken the time to chat with us today, Tanya. So thank you.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm really happy to be here. Thank you.
So we at Manchester Theatres are really looking forward to this show, Ladies' Day. So it follows these four ladies who work in a factory, and they kind of want a little bit more for themselves. They want more out of life, and they decide to have a bit of an adventure. So they go to Ladies' Day at Royal Ascot that kind of coincides with Pearl's retirement, not that she's calling it her retirement. So what else can you tell us about the show without obviously maybe giving everything away?
Yeah, so the play is set in 2005. It's as you said, it's about four women who work in a fish factory and decide via Pearl to go to Royal Ascot for the day, because for 1 year only it's come to York. And they're just taking a day out of the fish factory in Hull to get dressed up and have a really good time at the races with each other. And that's the main bulk of the play. It's set at York races. We see into what their lives are a little bit like, and just how they respond to being at the races as four very different women in a place where anything can happen. There's a lot to do with luck. There's a lot of fun and a lot of booze. So yeah, it's a really fun play.
Yeah, and you played Jan. So
Yeah.
Jan is on first appearances, maybe she might appear to be the more reserved of the four characters. But actually, as you say, as the champagne starts flowing, we start to kind of realize why that might be. I mean, she's been through a lot of things, and in fact, she's actually still going through quite a few of those things as well. So is it fair to say that it isn't that she's aloof, but it's more of a protective armor maybe that she's wearing?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. She's a woman who's been through a lot. She's been single for a very long time. She lives on her own, and she's absolutely devoted to her daughter, who is called Claire, who's just about to go to uni. And I think that her daughter leaving is, making her panic a bit. And so she hides that panic, and perhaps working very hard, having a lot of morals. But she's someone that is really desperate for love and romance. And we see a little bit of why and how that comes out in the play.
Yeah, it's and you see that with all of the characters, actually, don't you? They all have these kind of hidden truths that on the surface at the start we have no idea about at all. And again, as the play goes on and there's more booze involved, all of these secrets start coming out that even the girls, as close as they are, didn't know about each other. So I think there's kind of an important message there, that you never know what someone's going through. So is this something that you were all kind of keen to promote tolerance and kindness towards each other because of these hidden secrets?
Yeah, you just don't know what someone's life is, do you? There's that saying that, always be kind because you don't know what someone's going through. And I think there are many moments in this play where you see what the outside of these women are, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, actually, you just don't expect to see vulnerability. Shelley is one of the characters who is very described as probably really loud and brash, but there is something very delicate and soft and vulnerable about her as well, which you see in every character has these multi-layers. It's really clever writing by Amanda, where what you see on the surface is not really what is going on. There's a lot going on underneath, and that's revealed. A lot about hidden and reveal. So yeah,
and like you say, it's what all those different layers just make the play so exciting. And on top of that, you've then got all these other characters that we kind of meet at the races, and they're all played by one person. Is that right? All these different.
Yeah, so there's four women, and then there is Gareth Cassidy, there's forming actors, and then there's Gareth Cassidy who multi-roles, and he plays, I think it's 7 characters.
Wow.
He plays all the men, from beginning to end, and all of them are very different. He's super talented, and he just does an amazing job at really making each one different. And each one of our characters has a connection to each one of his characters in some way, and it's really fun. He's had the audience love him, and he's responded really well, and it's again really clever writing by Amanda to create that multi-role. And
because there's so many, I mean, obviously it's endless, the possibility that you could do with that. I mean, within the play, like you say, there's you've got the jockey who lives in Cloud Cuckoo Land, you've got the lush TV presenter, you've got the gambler who just never wins, you've got a dodgy ticket tout, and so and Barry, who Pearl, bless her, spends the whole play searching for. So which of those characters is it that you kind of bounce and play along with?
So my character, Jan, she's a bit of a, without giving too much away, I would say, yes, it's Joe. So the character Joe, who Gareth plays, is someone that Jan likes a lot. And so throughout the play, again, when we're talking about keeping things hidden, there is something hidden towards Joe that perhaps is revealed at the end that's really sweet. But my personal favorite character is Patrick. He's the jockey, and he's just so lovely and kind and jovial to one of the other characters, who's played by Joe Patmore. The character is called Linda, and she's very, very she is all the way through quite vulnerable, sweet and kind, and Patrick sees something in her that's very special instantly. And there's a couple of scenes that every night I think the audience has responded with or ooh, or just because it's just so wonderful. And I think Gareth really pushes the scene and the work behind that character really beautifully. So and you definitely, I was going to ask you about the audience, because like you say, there's those moments where there's the oohs and the ahs and the and all of that. But I think because, like you say, Amanda Whittington has written these characters, they're so real, they're so relatable, that everybody's rooting for them throughout. So you've kind of mentioned that there, but is that something that you feel as you're performing, that everybody's kind of willing the characters on? I've never been in a show so much where I've heard the audience vocally make noise for the characters. I think that we've had, in a lovely way, not in a distracting way. It's just they are rooting for them, and we can feel that on the stage. We can feel them, talking about it with their friends. Really, at the end, we've got a few surprises, and some of them are quite hard and heartbreaking, and they respond to that vocally as well. And at the end, again, you can tell the audience is really enjoying it. There's people on their feet clapping, smiling, whooping, and I've never done a show where the audience has been so joyful and so responsive in a lovely way. I think it was this play's been well needed. Especially because we're in February, March, April now, when we just want a bit of joy and a bit of fun, and this play really, really brings that out. And the audience have, they've been absolutely brilliant. They have responded well. You can really feel them rooting for the characters, and it's just been a joy to perform. Oh,
I can't wait. So obviously you mentioned earlier that this is set in Royal Ascot in York, and Amanda was actually asked to write it for the historic staging, because obviously it's not normally there. But she freely admits that she didn't really know an awful lot about horses, so she decided to write about the characters that go there instead. And I'm so glad that she did, because this is what we've got. But obviously you write as well. So what is it that inspires you to write? Is it character-led, or is it an event or something that's meaningful to you? So what kind of things inspire you to write, and do you have anything exciting in the pipeline as well?
Yes. So I've written from a very early age in many different forms and formats. So poetry is something I've always loved, and journaling and I've kept a diary since I was probably 6 or 7, and I have them all lined up on a shelf. It's just something that I've done for many years. I'm quite a new writer, I feel that, and I mean new in sharing, you know, new work.
Yeah.
But I've always been fascinated with relationships and how we relate to each other, and the interconnections between that and people. So a lot of my work is about relationships, how we as humans relate to each other, how we respond in certain situations. And I am writing a play at the moment. It's a four-hander about illusions and and romance, and it's set in a crystal shop. It sounds quite bizarre, but I'm trying not to give too much away without ruining the food. So that's what I'm working on at the moment. I have a lovely director that I'm working with, and yes, hopefully that will be out at the end of the year. It's called If I Speak. So that's really exciting. It's my first play, and yeah, hopefully this time next year it will be out. So yeah.
Oh, I will look out for that one. Yeah, that sounds exciting. So thank you for sharing that one with us. So just before we sort of leave, if you could kind of look maybe a few years into the future, where do you think Jan might be without, again, or where would you like her to be? Where would you like her to be?
Well, what's interesting is that Amanda's written another two plays post Ladies' Day #1. So I kind of know where she is for the next few years.
Okay.
She actually goes to Australia.
Oh, wow.
And has some romance. But post that second book that I've read, I'm not sure what happens, but I would like to see her. I'd like to see her making some decisions for herself, finding some strength for herself, and having what she wants in life, which I think is to be loved and to give love out, and for that to be respected, and you know, for her to be happy and in love, as lots of us desire to be. Yeah.
And that will make so much more sense to everybody why that's important when they've seen the play. Right, So speaking of seeing the play, obviously we want everybody to come and watch it, because as you've said, it's such a feel-good show, and it will give something back to you as an audience member. It will give you something back. So what can people expect other than that, and why should they be coming along?
Yeah, I think it is a fun show. So you'll laugh a lot. As I've said, you'll be rooting for these characters and their journeys. You will be uplifted, and it is really, really joyful. And I think we've had a lot of women that have come that have dressed up in their fascinators, had full-on outfits, and men dressing up in top hat and tails. So feel free to do that if you want to come and dress up, please. We encourage fascinators, and bring your mates, bring your friends, and just be reminded that, you know, friendship is so important. And you know, what is a world without our friends? So yeah, I would say that's the biggest takeaway from me, is just it's a play that makes me want to just ring up my mates and be like, are you all right? Let's go and do something. Let's have fun. And I appreciate and love you. So yeah, I hope that that's what people get when they watch the play.
That's a beautiful, beautiful sentiment. I love that. So thank you so much, Tanya. You can come along and catch her and everybody else in the show from the 8th of March right through to the 1st of April at the Bolton Octagon. I need to rethink my wardrobe for me coming along. But I definitely would come, because I'm sure we can all put a bet on that this is going to be a winning show. So thank you ever so much, and we will see you there. Thank you.
Thank you so much.